We'll move on from the All Blacks because it's getting me a bit sad. But there was plenty of other internationals on, some quality games. That Sunday morning was one of the great sort of mornings of rugby. It all went the Northern Hemisphere's way. But yeah, so England and South Africa, the sort of World Cup final rematch. It was a real sort of back and forth battle. And then in South Africa sort of probably thought they sort of had it with 5-10 minutes to go, but England just kept in it. And then there was obviously that penalty at the end. Fisky, what did you think of that? The grand final, the sort of Rugby World Cup final rematch. Did it live up to the reputation?
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I thought it'd be very dour. I think the total points were sitting at 40 or 41 before kickoff, and they flew over, scoring 53. So, England got the better of them. I just like the way South Africa just took it between the teeth, the bit between the teeth when they fell behind by a big score and just said, we're going to get them here. And they did. They just methodically worked back into the game and just almost thought they were going to get there. And then just slipped up very late there, when the game was there for the taking. I don't think they'll lose much sleep over it. I thought South Africa's tour was really good. Clinical, again, actually just overpowered Scotland, clinical against Wales, and yeah, just sort of started too slowly against England. And this is on the back of knocking off the All Blacks. So I think they'll be very comfortable how they're heading towards the 2023 World Cup. I really enjoyed that match, and yeah, enjoyed a couple of others actually too.
Yeah, there's plenty to look forward to. Plenty to enjoy. Also, that Wales Australia game with that questionable refereeing.
What a
Paul,
joke!
Did you see any of that? Have any thoughts on the refereeing there?
Go Fisky, go!
Oh, look, I'll never go in a bat for the Wallabies. I can't stand them, but some of the decisions there, and we won't even talk about the head clash that was a send-off. Okay, I could maybe cop a yellow card, but the knockdown, the Curly Bill knockdown, probably a yellow card, debatable. But when the other guy did the exact same thing after Bill, you think, well, he set a precedent here. Not only didn't he send him off, he's given a try. It defied physics how it wasn't a knock-on. And it's actually relevant where the ball goes. If you knock the ball down, it's a knockdown. It's a penalty and a yellow card. Bizarre. Truly bizarre. And
even the Welsh player sort of stopped and kind of looked and then
looked back.
Yeah, it was like, oh, the whistle isn't going yet.
Hear the whistle.
Don't I?
To give the bloke credit, even he shrugged his shoulders when they water. He just had a bit of a grin going, how good's that? But look, Dave Rennie, he's going to suffer from what a lot of Wallabies coaches experience. Not just they have to work so hard to get in these games because they just don't have the cattle. And then when they do really put it together for a match, which they had pretty much all tour, they finally put it together and get done by the ref. So uncharacteristically blew up. I think he's got the backing of everyone in Australia and mostly around the world. So, I feel for Rennie. It kind of all went haywire when they had the cock-ups in Japan with players not wanting to go and sort of giving them different indications where they're going to go to Europe, and they kind of had nothing after that. And we're chatting off air about them being $11 for the World Cup. I can't see any improvement between now and 2023. There's no young players coming through, and they've just gone and lost 3 matches on a tour in Europe for the first time in history. So I don't know how they get anywhere close to these top 4 or 5 sides.
Yeah, it's hard to say. I do agree. Australia $11 just seems, ludicrous, but we can get to that. Northern Hemisphere teams, are they peaking too early? They obviously had a pretty good weekend, got the better of their Southern Hemisphere counterparts, and the Northern Tour on the whole, they probably would be holding their heads up high. Are they peaking too early for 2023, or do you reckon they're sort of travelling all right? We've got France second favourite, $3.75, England $5.50 at third favourite, Ireland out at $13, which is interesting to see. What do you guys reckon about all that?
I don't think they've actually peaked. I think they're on the up, and I think the All Blacks are sort of on towards a low ebb. Although with the squad they have, they shouldn't actually be there. They should actually be on the up as well, but they're not at the moment. So I still think there's more in the tank for especially France. I'm not sure about Ireland. I think there's a bit more in the tank when it comes to England as well. So I don't mind the looks of them. If you have a look at France, as you said, they're $3.75 now, but they did open up at $9. So anyone who got on the $9 will be sitting back very, very happy now, knowing that the actual 2023 World Cup is in their backyard and they're progressing along very, very nicely. The other team I sort of like, don't mind the look of, is South Africa. I know they lost a few, but I think the $6 is value around the South Africans. They sort of have this sort of trend where 2 years in between World Cups, they're sort of playing around a wee bit. They're trying a few things, and I think we'll see them start to move along very, very nicely next season, and they will be at their peak when we get to 2023. So them at $6, they did touch $8 in that outright winner book for the World Cup, but I still think $6 is worth a go. The defending world champs, they'll be back again. They'll be at the top of their game when we get to 2023. So I see no value in the All Blacks at 325. And the value's gone out of France at 375. But if you got on at 9, you're very, very happy. And I like South Africa at 6. I agree with Fisky. $11 is well unders for the Australians. And Rennie's going to have to be David Copperfield to be able to turn that squad around. He will. He'll have to make a superstar appear out of nowhere for the Australians to be competitive in 2023.
So yeah, we nibble here and there, Paul. Who, if you had one bet, Fisky, who are you sort of eyeing up?
Yeah, I think Paul summarised it really well. New Zealand are massive unders, actually. The more I think about it, I just, they're barely favourites, but it's almost $4 a pick, like 4 of them, really. South Africa, France, England, and the All Blacks. It's almost $4 the field, $4.50 the field if you throw in Ireland. If I was going to have a bet, I think the $13 Ireland, that's your upside there. I thought they were brilliant in all their matches. Like, they absolutely towed Japan up by 50, absolutely towed Argentina. So it's pretty clear that second tier gap, which, the likes of Argentina and Japan at the top of that second tier, they can't even compete with a side like Ireland now. They're just so far ahead. And blew the All Blacks off the park just so confidently and with consummate ease. And I just love their back row. Kalen Doris and, their hooker's good. It's interesting. Carberry's coming on really well. So even if Sexton's not right in 2 years, Carberry's showing that he's got the goods. So, if we're going to have one bet, $13 Ireland. But like I say, there's 5 genuine chances.
Yeah, it should be a brilliant competition.
But in saying all this, Ireland have the absolute canny knack of peaking exactly, doing the opposite of South Africa, peaking the 2 years in between World Cups. So I'm not getting out. It's only because they're $13 that I'm getting a little bit excited. I'm not declaring the
quite a bit of excitement about the last World Cup, and then they went and sort of lost to Japan in the pool play, didn't they? And they didn't pull through, but
they do it every time. But if we can wax lyrical about Dupont and Ntamak and Fiku, and rightly so. Like, there's just so much talent there, pushing that big pack around. They're just, pulling the strings, scoring points at will out wide. But England are kind of, you got to throw them in now because they got some huge forwards. They just, pull out of trees. But now you got Freddie Stewart and Marcus Smith, some young playmakers at fullback and at 10, and that's a new dimension for me. So that makes me, I'd never get excited about England. Grubs is a word that comes to mind. But if you're an England fan, you should be pretty excited.
Yeah, early days, but what I've seen of Freddie Stewart, I think he's man of the match in both those last 2 tests for England against Australia and South Africa. So, he looks like one to really watch the future. And then, Marcus Smith, it was an easy penalty, but, still he's kind of had very young and shown some really good signs. So it's nice to see. Well, it's not nice to see England playing well, but it's nice to see them playing some positive footy.
Yeah.
Well, while we're on the topic of this international footy, there's been some big news this year. This week, the eligibility rules. So, World Rugby have sort of approved the new rules, which means that I'm sort of not fully on top of what the rules are, but I understand, it's that players.
I can exclusively reveal that the new rules are that if you sit out for 3 seasons, you're allowed to play for another country, and it can go either way. You don't have to go to a big country down to a smaller one. You can go any way you want, as long as you were born in that country or your parents or grandparents were born there. So someone like Tuolangi could play for Samoa, I imagine. But you have to sit out for 3 years, right?
Yeah,
so it's not realistic. But Charles Piutau can go play for Tonga. As of, I think, January, he's eligible, and that's when it comes in. So 3 years, sit out for 3 years. Then you can pick anyone you want to play for. If it's not residency, you have to have been born there or have a link with a parent or grandparent.
Yeah. I mean, it can only be good, it can only be positive for World Rugby, can it? Like the amount of players out there playing in Europe, sort of, gone over there for the money and all that, about to come back and you play for your Tongas and your Samoas. It'd be awesome to see. Just having a look now, Tonga, they've got sort of Israel Folau, George Moala, Vai Fafita, Samoa's Lema Sopoaga, Stephen Luatua, Julian Savia. So there's some really great players that could be, in a couple of years' time, could be sort of making their. I know that Adi Savia's sort of, he's in the past expressed his a passion for playing for Samoa. Obviously, he'd have to sit out for